Hey, everybody. Kevin here with Pursuing Pixels, and welcome back to another edition of Save It for the Cast. And we're just going to get pretty much right into the video game talk this week. John Randall and I, we're digging into some stuff, actually for an episode that's going to come out in a few weeks, but we'll give a little bit of a tease, and mostly it's just us going off the rails, talking about Morrowind and Skyrim and Genshin Impact, which again, John's going to talk about in a few weeks more in depth on the actual mechanics. But yeah, we'll get into another Save It for the Cast episode here in just a sec, but as always, I kind of want to give a shout out. It's been a little while since we've done one of these. This is actually the 7th episode or 7th edition issue, whatever you want to call it, of Save It for the Cast. And it's actually week number 7 as well of our PP Potpourri, Pursuing Pixels Potpourri, whatever you want to call it, which is our like weekly indie game book club. And we've had a few discussions here and there, like seeing if like we're doing 5 games every week, which seemed a little bit daunting, but it's more meant to be like, hey, dip your toes in, see which of the 5 of these kind of speak to you. They're all kind of bite-sized, either arcadey experiences or kind of like, I don't know, short, within a half hour at the very most. I guess it depends. Everybody plays games at different paces. But for example, there was a game called Verist, which was featured recently. And I know Arpy in our Discord really, really loved this one. And that's kind of where we're chatting about these games in the PP Potpourri book club, if you will. Book club just for, I don't want to call it a game club, but I guess that is what it is. But yeah, that was like a really cool pixel art Metroidvania from that was actually made originally for I think like a month-long Metroidvania game jam from Just Cam H, who we've mentioned a few times on the podcast. They actually put together that indie like care package bundle that Lonely People Potion Shop from Cultisti was a part of, and I know we've mentioned that a couple times on the podcast, both John and I. But we've mentioned a couple of their games as well, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least one of them. I know I talked about Corlo when we were talking about the Ludum Dare 48, which Ludum Dare 49 just happened. We got to get on checking out some of those games. I know Frog Grammar, a bunch of our pals put out some games, but Quantum Kitty is probably the game that I want to check out the most from Frog Grammar. It has just a really cool gameplay mechanic. That's actually from him and Daniel Freer, who made the game Rite, Rite. And I think they worked with 1 or 2 other people, but that's just off the top of my head. But Rite is another awesome precision platformer that you can snag for $5. And while I'm giving a shout out to some games real quick, I basically wanted to give a shout out to Wired Dreams Studios, which is a solo developer. I'll have links to like their Twitter and whatnot in the episode description here. But I recently checked out 2 of their games. One of them just came to consoles. It was called Red Ronin, or it is called Red Ronin. And it's another game that kind of uses that Cyber Protocol mechanic, which is another game that we've referenced numerous times on the podcast since like the very early days. But it's got that grid base. This is a top-down game, and you're basically pressing up, down, left, or right, and your character is gonna zip all the way across. It's kind of like a turn-based stealth, not stealth really, but it's like a turn-based action arcade puzzle game, but with some stealthy mechanics. And you have you can like freeze time once you pick up certain collectibles, and you can also kind of like place like a little dash mechanic with your little robot buddy, where like you can kind of redirect. So instead of going all the way until you hit a wall, if you press up and go until you hit a wall or obstacle or whatever, you can put a little cursor that'll basically be like a Mario Kart Dash logo that'll like, okay, you can shoot yourself off to the up, down, left, or right, and redirect yourself in the middle of a movement, which is really, really cool. So that does add like a slight tactical layer to the otherwise like kind of fast-paced, frantic, turn-based gameplay. And again, I say frantic just because it feels that way. And you're basically, at first, you're just kind of zipping around and working your way up this tower and just getting to like the exit on each level. But eventually you have to get to the exit on each level and actually like slash through all the enemies. And if you end up on a tile right next to one of the enemies, they will slash and kill you. So just a really, really cool gameplay mechanic. And then another game from the same developer called Raven's Hike that uses pretty much the same gameplay mechanic, but kind of like twists that on its head. Twist that on its side, I should say, because this is like a 2D side-scrolling platformer, if you will, but it's more along the lines of Sprout or I don't know, I can't think of any other games off the top of my head, but it's like they're all single screen stages where you have to like basically clear a certain number of obstacles, either just get to the exit door at the very beginning of the game, or as you move along, there'll be like maybe 5 or 6 little like blue tokens that you have to collect to unlock the door. And you basically just have this grappling hook that, again, you press up, down, left, or right, and that's going to zip you all the way across until you hit an obstacle. And the only difference here is that you can actually cut that zipping short. So like if you're zipping all the way to the right, you can actually press up, down, or left, or actually you can't press left. So up or down, like one of the perpendicular directions, and cut that short and send yourself in the opposite direction. So these like the levels right on their surface, they almost look like, and especially at the very beginning, you're like, okay, these kind of have scripted solutions to them, but it definitely, as soon as you get to like the 5th or 6th stage and they start throwing in those where you have to collect the blue tokens, it's like, okay, you clearly can go this way, and you can, there's like kind of a safer path where you can go and hit the end of the walls or obstacles, and there's kind of like, floating tiles that you can stop yourself against, but there's spikes along certain walls and whatnot, and it's just, I don't know, it's just, again, it's got that really frantic, fast pick up and play, and this game's only $5. I don't think it's made its way to consoles yet, because I think it just came out on PC, and I know this same developer, again, Wired Dream Studios, just announced a new game that's going to be like a fully kind of turn-based tactical game. It doesn't look like it uses this like grid-based move all the way until you hit an obstacle mechanic, that the Cyber Protocol mechanic, if you will. But yeah, I just really was just made a couple videos for both of those games, Red Ronin and Raven's Hike, and just couldn't get enough. Like I had a hard time pulling myself. I know I like to keep the videos kind of spoiler free, and I had a really hard time kind of pulling myself away from both of those games, although I kept them pretty short and sweet, I think. But yeah, I really can't recommend either of those games enough. But without further ado, I think Randall, John, and I can just get into a little tease for a regular episode that's coming in a few weeks. But let's dig into some random video game talk. And yeah, we're all over the map on this one. So let's get into it.
I think that's a clear goal. I think that makes sense.
And not too extreme, it's not like I'm like, hey, I want to be able to dunk by the end of this program, right, So to keep the NBA train going. But yeah. I've been rambling for long enough. What's up with you guys?
Work. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad that like I haven't had work in so long, almost, but
don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't feel guilty for it. So
this is completely out of left field, Kevin, for you in particular, but I wanted you to be aware, even though you probably won't take this up given that you already have access to this, but they are officially reprinting the original Wild Guns for Super Nintendo through strictly limited games. So
I don't know if I have that actually, to be honest.
You have it through Switch Online.
Oh, yeah. And I have the Reloaded, but still, man.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of these reproduction carts if they're like official.
Me fucking shaking my head like I didn't just goddamn buy, and I'm going to talk about the Castlevania Advance Collection. What a fucking hypocrite. Christ.
Hey, man. You gotta do what you gotta do.
You have to buy games multiple times.
We've all rebought our fair share, I would say. I was saying, I can't remember who I was even talking to in the Discord, but I'm pretty sure I've quadruple dipped on many a game between like, I have it on Super Nintendo, and then I bought it on the Wii Virtual Console, and then I got it on 3DS Virtual Console, and then, I don't know, I got it on Game Boy Advance or something, or,
I think I've got Resident Evil 4 at least 3 ways. Yeah.
What, GameCube and then...
GameCube, Wii, PS3/4.
Okay.
I think I technically only bought Skyrim twice.
Switch and...
Once on Steam.
That's pretty good for you, John.
That's extremely good because I've played it. Like, here's the thing. Like, the reason why I had to, like, pause and think about that is because I originally played it on my roommate's Xbox 360.
Nice.
And then I played it on the lowest possible graphical settings on my parents' computer.
Nice.
While I was at their home for I don't know why I was at their home for a week. Maybe it was for Christmas or something.
On their integrated graphics card.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, it was so great. Because there's sometimes when you land either a critical hit or a killing blow on something, the camera zooms out to do a cinematic, and when it would do that, it would literally take a full minute because the computer would just chug. Oh, and I played it that whole damn week.
Wow.
And then I got it. Because I got it on Steam, so then once I finally had it on my own computer, I could do it. And then when I got it on Switch,
yeah,
yeah, that's for how long that game's been out though. That's pretty impressive that you've only played it across, I guess, essentially 3 platforms. But
I only had
2.
2 platforms that it could actually. I've only owned 2 platforms that could actually run it.
And for a game that you could theoretically own it on 12 platforms.
Oh, yeah.
If you wanted it to.
Yeah.
Quite easily.
Yeah.
When did it come out on PlayStation 3?
It had to have.
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that was the era for sure. Because Morrowind was they put that out on Xbox
original Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Oblivion it was Oblivion and then Skyrim were both on 360.
Yeah, that
List
sounds
of
right.
Platforms.
I'm pretty sure.
Windows, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X.
Yep.
It's everything ever. Everything ever.
Why would they ever make a new one?
I think that's the way they feel too.
I'm honestly it came out 10 years ago.
Yeah.
November 11th, 2011.
That's wild.
It's the 10-year anniversary is the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X versions.
I remember working with a dude at my logistics job who was, kudos to him, he was talking about Demon Souls before it came out. Nice. And then was also super into Skyrim to the point that he pre-ordered the hardcover guide for the original version. So yeah, nice. He was on top of it.
Yeah, that was kind of, I guess Oblivion was pretty big too, and so was Morrowind. But I feel like Oblivion definitely took it to the bringing it to consoles was kind of shit, people are into this. And then Skyrim was just pretty much everybody plays this game.
Yep.
Except me, apparently. Have you ever played it, Randall? I forget.
I have. I've had a couple of false starts, but not because I didn't like the game, obviously. So I need to give it a real college try. This is the game I'm playing for the next, I don't know, John, 200 hours, I guess?
Not if you're asking John. I don't even know what John's hours are on that game.
When I still had the original factory memory card or SD card that the Switch came with, I had to keep deleting old save files on Skyrim in order to have it run.
Until Did it keep growing?
Oh, because you can always load an old save. And each save is an individual file.
Okay. Yeah.
So
it doesn't just have the most 10 recent or something. It just keeps stacking them.
Keeps going unless you delete them. And
that's crazy.
It's
I mean, that's kind of cool because there's certain games that I'm sure I've said this before to you guys, but with Zelda games, for example, I have a very specific memory of playing Twilight Princess and hitting a certain point where I was the tutorial is done. I was I'm going to make a new save file and have this. So if I ever want to replay this game, I can start right here and not do all the talking.
With
and
Twilight Princess.
Yeah. Because that was a 2-hour roam around the village and
do the goat catching.
Yes, the goat catching. I remember that too. That's the only thing that
I wouldn't have remembered that. It was a cool setting too. I was really pumped to explore the game some more, and it was just Jesus Christ, let me go.
Yeah,
even Skyward Sword was a little bit. I just remember let me out of this fucking school, man. I just want to stop going to there was some specific just chain of you got to go to this room, then this room, then this room.
We got to explain how you run, how every meter works.
Yeah. I get it. Every game could be someone's first game. I get it.
Yeah.
Yep.
but don't hold their hand. Let them figure it out. How much more fun is it? Like, I know you guys didn't get as into like Enter the Gungeon as I did, but like it was so much more fun to like actually like discover things again in a game. Like, oh, what does this do?
Right.
What the hell is this cage? Like, oh, I can break that open and go into it? Oh, holy shit. Like, nothing said I could, but I just decided to try it. I don't know. It's just like, I kind of miss, if a game's simple enough control-wise, it's like you can kind of let people go a little bit, I think.
That's why Skyrim and Oblivion and those games have such an appeal. That's why I'd want to play one eventually. I'm assuming that's why John finds it to be such a fun playground to be in.
That's a good point.
It is just like endless. That's kind of also like why I've been doing Genshin for so long. It's just like it's a nice sandbox and it's massive and there's so much to like. Here's my hot take. Genshin Impact is a better Breath of the Wild.
Ooh.
But like the fact that I can't
save it for the cast,
but the fact that I can't pay for it and like just have everything and like just have normal systems like makes it worse. Like,
at what point though do you just like say, well, I'm getting $60 or whatever price you're okay with, and I'm going to put that amount into this game just because I'm having a blast?
Because it never stops. Because there will always be like, that's the thing. Like that. This is the actual save it for the cast conversation. Is that like there's an expectation that like if you. No, I'm gonna say
I'm sorry. Yes. Sorry.
Right. No, but that's awesome though.
Yes.
I'm very curious now because I did not expect you to say what you said at first, especially.
Yes. It plays better. It has so much more. Like my main thing that I wanted Breath of the Wild is I wish that there was at least like 2 more towns. Like that's it. Like I just wanted like even if they were like same size as like the little like fishing village. Like not like anything to do, not any like real like massive quest lines, just a nice little town here and there. Like that's all I needed.
Those are so fun to find.
Yeah, I remember the first time I found one that like wasn't one of like the quest towns. It was just like, ooh, this is bigger than the usual like couple huts or whatever. Like it was like, oh, what's over here? It was that was such a cool experience.
Or not just another horse corral or something. Yeah.
But like Genshin has metropolises. Like it's not like a post-apocalyptic world. So like you have to understand that there are like major cities and like each so far. Also, in like the rollout of it, there are 7 elements that like are the magic that you can use in the game. So it's fire, ice, water, electricity, wind, earth, and grass.
Okay.
But so far there have been no characters that are grass type released, so like that's an entire like I'm actually kind of amazed that they had 6 of the 7 elements already like characters that you could play as. But they only have, and there are 3 countries so far that have been released. Like they just literally released the 3rd, and like each country is its own element. And your main character can change their element to whatever, like if you worship at the statues, which are like the guardian posts or whatever, then you can change your element to that country. So that way, like you get characters, and there's so much in this. But like I don't know, people know what Genshin Impact is at this point. Like I don't want to like go like describe.
I don't.
I don't know that I really do either.
I've literally known nothing about this game other than it looks like Breath of the Wild.
Besides what you've told me in the past, like that's basically what I know.
Yeah, and like man, also Kevin, you wouldn't last like the tutorial in this game because Paimon is the most annoying character ever, and Paimon is your Navi of the game.
Why would I do that?
And never stops talking.
Why?
Because here's the...
At least give me a toggle. Give me a toggle.
No, and you can't skip dialogue. Like, you can, but there are certain, like, things that if the dialogue prompt that happens before either like a scripted action in a cutscene or your like dialogue option choices, that one you have to listen to in its entirety. And it is unbelievable that is like still in the game. Like,
is it voice acted along with like? Well, wow,
almost 100% voice acted, which is incredible.
Which is incredible. Like
so much of this game is unbelievable. Like, all of the puzzles are so well done. All of the quests are so well done. Everything in this game is so good, but it's also.
But do we also want to think about how potentially underpaid the people are that are working on this game or are they a decent company?
At this point?
I don't know.
Because you got to think if they're just cranking out all this shit, there's no way they're paying these people enough.
Well, let me tell you the blurb. When I Googled this, taking the world by storm, Genshin Impact is considered the most popular free-to-play role-playing game to date after racking up $245 million in its first month of release.
Dollars or downloads?
Dollars.
Jesus Christ.
Genshin Impact made $2 billion in a year?
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, dog.
What a joke, man.
That's the thing is like I think they are spending all of the money. Like they're paying all of the voice because it's voice acted in every language that you can choose.
That's
like,
crazy.
There are voice actors. Like I think they are just throwing. They're making infinite money.
Yeah, I mean at that point,
they're throwing infinite
out.
money. Like. This isn't an unbelievable game, but it is also unsustainable. Like, and like you can't. I'm gonna be playing it for the.
Hey man,
ride.
how long has World of Warcraft been going? I mean, you never know,
right?
Yeah. You never know. It could just keep evolving and changing, and
that's the thing is like they've got at least 4 more countries worth of, and like each country is basically the size of a Breath of the Wild map.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Like,
well, for that matter, I mean, they even look at like No Man's Sky. I mean, they could just be like, oh shit, there's another planet. There's new species coming in from space, and that's all of a sudden in the game now. I mean, you know what I mean? If they really want to keep pushing it, you know,
they are setting themselves up for the long haul, and they are just. There was a fucking tower defense game that was like a fully fleshed out tower defense seasonal event.
That's cool.
Like it was great, but like I was like, how the fuck did you do this? Why did you do this? Because they have to keep having people come back to the game. They have to have them log in every day and have new content for them, especially the people who are spending money on it. And those people get very mad when their expectations are not met, and that is what we will say for the cast.
You know what sucks though is like that in a way, not like the free to play, like, you know, poaching on people essentially to like spend their money, but like I almost prefer that structure to just cranking out sequels to games, to be honest. Like if they just kept kind of expanding the world that you already kind of played in, and like depending on the game, you wouldn't be able to do it for every type of game and whatever, but I kind of like the idea of that in theory, at least.
Yeah.
I haven't really played anything that's done that per se, but you know.
And I had to fully divorce myself from like expectations of like, here's a limited edition character that, you know, if I have enough, like, I don't even remember what the fucking items are called, like that you use, that you spend to get them. But like, it was like, oh, you only have like the chance to pull this character if you spend 10 of these items every like time, and you can only get one of those 10 by spending 160 Primo Gems each, and
just
like
buy a little bit of currency, a little bit of Primo Gems.
And
John.
you know what?
It's a limited time offer.
I went in basically a year late for everything, and I've missed so much content. I'm gonna miss so much more, and that's fine. Like I just won't have those characters, and guess what? I don't fucking need any of it. Like I don't.
Yeah, you'll just be able to dip in when you feel like it.
And honestly, like all it took was me. Like there are, if I could choose certain characters, there are some, because there. Oh god. Okay. So there are 5 weapon loadouts. You have 4 characters in your party at any given time, and they each have either a weapon type and a element type. So your main character is a normal long or short sword, I guess. and I always have that in my first slot, or a person with a lance, because those are kind of similar attack types. Yeah. My second slot is always an archer. The third slot I always have as a spellcaster, and the fourth slot I always have as a like claymore, which is like a two-handed slow attack.
Oh yeah,
and
that's my baby.
Like that loadout is perfect. And like when I first started out, like and those are like the. I guess they don't give you a heavy weapon type. At the beginning of the game, they give you your main character, another short sword character, an archer character, and a spellcaster. Mm-hmm. And like, as soon as I locked in those 4 roles, I was like, cool. Like, I'm going to remember that button mapping to like switch to a character, and I always know my archers on this one. I always know my like claymores on that side. Like, I'm set. And then for the longest time, I only had one archer of one element type, so I couldn't like make a party around. I was like, okay, I always have like that element in my party. I can't make any other combination. So it was a bit of a slog until I found a second archer that was a different like element type, and I was like, thank God.
I'm sure you had found one previously if you were willing to spend money.
Oh, absolutely. I could have just bought my way to that, but I didn't earn it. No, that's stupid. Everything's fucking stupid.
That's amazing.
Stupid game that I spend every hour playing.
I guess I didn't realize how hooked you got on this game.
I mean, that's the same thing as that, like, I'm also just letting it run in the background because it's all cooldown timers.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So, like, it's not that I'm even playing. I mean, I am playing it basically every day, but like I'm also not actively playing it a lot of time. Like I'm just like checking in, like spending all the celestial resin, which is another currency. You have a maximum of 160, and that refills on a cool whatever. Who gives a shit?
Get your login bonus.
Yep. And I have if I miss one, then I'm behind on the days, and I can't even get the full 30 days of login.
Do you still do like daily stuff like Kingdom of Loathing and all that?
I haven't in a while. Also because there was additional allegations that came out against one of the creators, and I was like, I don't feel great continuing to play this.
Good excuse to break away.
So this is filling that void of a daily.
John apparently needs a free to play like endless content game in his life.
Me too.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mine's not free to play though.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Everyone knows what mine is. It's no secret. No joke.
Are you still doing the cards, the digital cards?
Oh yeah, I'm still doing that. I'm not swimming in that stuff like I was in like February. But I still look at it from time to time.
Have you liquidated some of your portfolio?
I did a little bit, yeah. I did.
Okay.
Not when I should have, but I did all the same. I'm definitely profitable in that venture.
So nice.
That's
then
the
that
main
was
thing.
fine.
Yes.
As long as you're not underwater.
No,
exactly.
I could have been a lot more over water than I ended up being, but that's my fault.
Yeah, but if you're drowning in digital basketball cards, you're in bad shape. So
but it's always like that. That's why I can't do investments, is because like you can always look at whatever move you made and said, if I just
I should have
held out a little bit longer, or if I sold it yesterday. Like, there's always a better position. You are never at the optimal time to sell, and even if you are at like 70% optimization, like you're still just all you feel is regret because you didn't get to that sweet 100.
I felt that regret for at least a couple of months after the fact, I would say. Yes.
Yeah. I would
what
imagine.
Supposed to do? You can't tell the future.
No.
So it's like
they could have just kept skyrocketing.
Well, that's
and then you would have missed out.
Exactly. Exactly.
You would have been a fool.
Oh my god. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. No, I spend more of my time with the 2K series.
Nice. Did you get the new one?
Yeah.
How is it?
I'm in 2K22. That's my daily login.
Nice.
Which
Does
I
it
suppose
have
I could
daily
talk
login
about.
stuff?
What's that?
Does it have daily login stuff?
Oh yeah,
my
absolutely
God.
does. It sure does.
Interesting.
I saw all the
Interesting.
State Farm product integration.
Hey, it feels legit, right? I mean, that's what
gross.
basketball
A little tough
is
on
when
a
you're
product
watching it.
You're already paying $60 for it to have.
I don't agree that they should do it, but I mean, it's
Fully
what it feels
voice
like.
acted and like quest line. Oh my god, yeah. Once
Little
Genshin
tough.
Impact starts having like State Farm sponsored quest lines,
hey, it's only a matter of time if it's that successful.
Yes, it is.
That's crazy.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yep. So I could
man.
I could throw that in at any point, but I want to talk about The Last of Us Part 2 primarily.
Nice. Yeah, I'm debate. What are you planning on talking, John, off that list?
I mean, yeah, like when I was talking about like, I don't have much to say about Game Boy Advance like collection. It's more of just, hey, I like it. Like that's pretty much it. Like I've talked those games to death.
You like the Game Boy Advance Castlevania games?
Have you guys ever heard of the little series called Castlevania on the Game Boy Advance?
Are those Metroidvania games?
No, they're actually Igavanias.
That's true, they are
by
Igavania
Igarashi.
That is true. They are Igavania games.
Except the first one.
No, brother.
Wasn't Circle. We've talked.
Circle. Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
need
Circle
to
of the
look
Moon
this up. Circle of the Moon
Well,
was made by someone else.
Symphony of the Night, the first Igavania in theory.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Circle of the Moon was made by a different team, I think.
I think you're right about that. Was he involved in Aria of Sorrow?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. No, Aria Sorrow. Oh my god, that was. So I played all three of them simultaneous, which is great because Harmony of Dissonance has this really, at least for me, a person who's played the opening 10 hours of it 30 times and never gotten past that. There's always this section that like I die repeatedly in, and it's really frustrating. But when I have two of my favorite Castlevanias available for a click of the button, all I could do is be like, cool, putting this game down and moving on to one that I love. And it's such a great palate cleanser.
Yeah.
But like Aria of Sorrow is so anime bullshit, and it's the dumbest, and I love it. Like God,
It's supposed to be like a bona fide classic, though. It's the one that I still need to play through.
Oh, it's great. Like it's,
I've skimmed all of them, but
same.
including the DS ones too.
Same.
But I've just like only I beat. I think I've said this before, but I beat like Dawn of Sorrow. That's the only one I ever beat, and I got like the worst ending you can get. So
Who cares about the worst ending versus like...
I mean,
in this case, it definitely felt like the game just ended mid-game. It was just kind of like,
okay.
They were just basically like, the boss
understand.
escaped. the boss
bad
got
ending
away.
does.
I was like, what? And I was like, I don't get to chase him down? What is this? Yeah, it was brutal. I was like, that was the only time I've ever been like, whoa, I just got the bad ending. Like, that is not, there's no like, oh, that's like you didn't save the day, you know, it's like, you just lost. Like, you beat the game and you lost.
It at least like doesn't stop. It doesn't like close off that file. It doesn't make it so that you can't go back and
I
like
think
you can still
like,
go to the
pick up
save point or last save point you were
That's
at
good.
and like do the different. Because you just need to get, like, I think certain souls and equip them, because that is what you need to do.
That's right. That's right.
At the end of Aria of Sorrow, in order to get the good or, like, true ending, is you have to equip 3 specific souls into your soul slots. And I think it's a similar thing for Dawn of Sorrow. But yeah, it does occur, like, 50% of the way through the game. Which is so goofy.
Crazy. Sometimes the pacing in those games are a little off.
Great.
But yeah, I don't know. I could either talk. Well, what are you planning on talking, John?
I mean, I was
like
mostly Genshin, and then I could throw a little bit of Mercenaries Blaze, because again, I don't have a ton to say about that either. but I at least have a little bit more than the Castlevania Advance Collection.
Okay. Because if you mention that, I might just piggyback off you and just give a shout out to Dungeon Death Ball, since unless any of you guys want to play that, but I've waited long enough for DJ. Yeah. I got to talk Dungeon Death Ball. And I talked a little bit about it with Matt, so I'll be able to just kind of give it a quick shout out, kind of hey, since you're talking tactics, let me give this game another quick shout out.
And we can always talk it when the DJ comes back.
Totally. And both of us have the frame of reference because, I've seen those clips that you've shared and it looks amazing. Not to overplay my hand, but I'm hooked on Control. It's, yeah.
Okay. Heck yeah.
I
bounced off that game, kind of. Did I talk about that on the podcast?
Yeah, we had to. I talked about it.
Well, you did. I can't remember because I played a little bit of it, and I can't remember if I talked about how I didn't like it.
I don't know if I remember you talking about it, Kevin. I know John definitely did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to look back, because it might have been one of those things that I had on the back burner, kind of like Genshin has been, and just been I never found a place to weave it in, and then
we only talked about it on 2 episodes, so maybe not.
That sounds
maybe
about right.
Me first impressions.
I think it was you, both times, yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like there was a gap between when I played it and you played it.
Yeah, there was a pretty big gap, and I want to say we talked about it once with just you and one. I think DJ might have been on one of the ones that we talked about it. For some reason, I remember having more of a discussion with it.
Yeah,
but I could be wrong.
Such a good game.
I'll have to maybe I'll dip my toes back in, but
that's kind of the perfect example too, of it has just enough story to sustain just enough gameplay, and it doesn't have any more.
Yeah. There's the comparisons I want to make, but I'm going to save it.
Yeah.
Save it.